In September last year, the Ealing Council decided to lease this building for 250 years to a private religious group. And the campaign is based around our objections that this building should be sold. And our reasons are that this is a public building, a public utility, and it has been used for over 150 years by local people for public use, for meetings, for housing organizations that provide services to local people. And the council has sold this building on a lease for 250 years. And the reason why they've leased it for this extraordinary length of time is to get to cover a loophole and prevent people criticizing them of saying that it's been sold, and their response would be that it's only a lease for 250 years. And to sell it to a religious group, which will mean that it's only used by one denomination category in Southall, means that the large sections of the population won't be able to use it. It becomes quite sectarian in how the building will be used. It is the only secular building left in the whole of the town. Every single building that has been public has been sold off. The government and the local council between themselves from 1975 onwards have asset stripped Southall to cover their budget or to fill the gaps in their budget. The government has even sold the Southall police station. There are no public toilets in Southall. You can't go to the loo, you have to go to a restaurant. It's shocking the systematic cuts that have taken place in this town. In an area where there is very strong deprivation, high population of older people and younger people, and quite high unemployment, historical shortage of housing. This is also a building which has become iconic because around the 1970s, this is the building that anti-racists and communities defended from the National Front, who occupied it on the 22nd and 23rd of April on St. George's Day, and it resulted in police operations that killed Blair Peach and led to mass arrests of local people. So the council see this building as just brick and mortars. They don't see the history. And for us, it's the selling of our history and future which is represented in this building. So it has no monetary value for us. The council's argument in the beginning was that it's making a loss. And when we examined the figures, it was making a loss of £1,000 a year, which is nothing, which is the salary of a 1 hour salary of a high executive in London Borough of Ealing. Okay? And now, because we've had a campaign which has been very successful, it's attracted national press and massive local support, with large sections of community supporting it, and every single section of community supporting it, from women's organizations to religious organizations to organizations that provide services. Because of the pressure on council, they're now saying actually they need the money because they need to provide money for social care in this town and in this area. Now, the building houses people who provide services to local people. This isn't an asset which is competing with other categories of expenditure in local authority. The council is not broke, by the way. If you look at the audit figures like we have, it has something like, on paper, 14 million minimum reserves. Right? And this is not reserves to do with the emergencies. This is just ideal reserves, unrestricted reserves, etc. So it's not broke. Okay? And they have between themselves, the Labour Party in this area, have tried to put such huge pressure on people not to support the campaign, but it's backfired on them, because this is seen as the last stand against privatization, against asset stripping, and to preserve a community heritage, as well as to create a new vision for Southall, which involves looking at how the town has been neglected and treated as shambles by both local Tory and Labour parties which have controlled it.